Welcome to the Chester Ultramarathon 50-mile race brief. My name is Wayne Drinkwater and I'm the Event Director at GB Ultras, and today we're going to cover some of the key points that you may need to know for the race itself. The start and finish venue is at Ellesmere Port Sports Village, a fantastic complex. There's an athletics track that will host the start and the finish line, and it's at the rear of the complex as you pull into the car park. Entry is on the right hand side of the AstroTurf football pitches via a walkway, which would lead you to the outbuilding and race registration beside the track. There is limited parking at Ellesmere Port Sports Village. Alternative parking locations are available within the locality, and details of these again are provided in your race instructions email. On race day, the car park at Ellesmere Port Sports Village will be open from 4:15. Please do not arrive before this time to avoid causing a backup of traffic on the surrounding roads. The car park has a 2-metre high height restriction barrier, which we will not have access to open. No parking is available overnight on Friday or Saturday, and vehicles must be removed immediately following your completion of the race. Ideally, try and car share wherever possible. Please respect decisions by car park stewards controlling vehicle entry to the venue. We recommend being dropped off as opposed to leaving a vehicle if possible, or, as I mentioned, car sharing. Race registration will be held at the outbuilding beside the athletics track on the Friday prior to the event from 5:30 p.m. till 9 p.m, or alternatively on race day morning prior to the event from 4:15 a.m. until 5:30 a.m. If you arrive after 5:30 a.m. on Saturday morning for registration, you will only be permitted to register and collect your bib number and tracker after the race has started at 6 o'clock. This is due to the event team members needing to travel to other checkpoints on the route and also marshal positions. You're welcome to collect your bib number on the Friday, but on the Saturday and only on the Saturday you can collect your GB race tracker. So regardless of whether you've actually picked up your bib number on the Friday, you will still need to come and see the team and collect your tracker on the Saturday. If you have ordered an optional finisher tech tee for the Chester Ultra 50 mile, please collect it at race registration. When you've collected your GB race tracker at race registration, please ensure that it's worn on the outside of your pack. There is a Velcro fastener that will help you to secure it to maybe the shoulder or the back of your pack. It needs direct line of sight with the sky in order to work effectively during the event. In advance of the event, we'll be sending you a tracking link so that your family and friends can follow your progress during the event. Tracking is updated at 2-minute intervals, providing there is GPS signal. Chester Ultra 50 mile starts at 6 a.m. sharp for a mass start, and then after that you'll be following a number of signs, dedicated trails and markings along the route. Please advise your support crew, supporters, family and friends who are parked on site at Ellesmere Port Sports Village that vehicle movement is not permitted until all runners have passed through the car park. Please ensure that you have your head torch switched on when leaving the start venue to ensure maximum visibility when you're crossing the initial road sections, and prepare to stop at all road crossings. The race route is made up of 3 main parts. First of all, it's the Shropshire Canal, which takes you to approximately 20 miles into the race. Then it's on to the Sandstone Trail that leads to Frodsham, from 20 miles to 35 miles into the race. After leaving the Sandstone Trail at Frodsham, you'll be joining onto the North Cheshire Way, which is another really well marked route, and it will take you to Hellesby Hill. In the days leading up to the event, we'll be putting up a number of laminated signs that look like this, with arrows and also red biodegradable tape. The red biodegradable tape is normally every 20 to 50 yards, depending on how straightforward that section is. Please bear in mind, in the immediate build-up to the race itself, course markers will be rechecked by the team, so we'll be making sure that the course marking is as intact as we possibly can. But sometimes route markers are taken down in the lead up to the race itself by maybe locals or landowners. So it's really essential that you're aware that the race follows key trails, that is the Shropshire Canal, the Sandstone Trail and the North Cheshire Way. Also, on the safety side of things, there are marshals at key road crossings throughout the event. These are sometimes quite busy roads. Please bear in mind that it's your responsibility to make sure it's safe to cross at any moment in time. There are no road closures, so please ensure that you keep to the footpaths where they're available at all times. Prepare to stop at all road crossings. When it comes to watercourses such as the Shropshire Canal, please be mindful of your footing on that trail, which can be slippery, particularly at this time of year. Remember to share the trail. Other trail users have as much right to be on that trail as you do. Any forms of verbal abuse given to event team members or members of the public will not be tolerated. Please ensure that you mention this to your support teams, family and friends too. Any form of swearing or abuse will result in your disqualification. GB Ultras request compliance. At set points in the race where there is very limited parking, the arrival of hundreds of support crew and supporters' vehicles may pose a risk to safety of participants, of supporters, and all members of the public. In these instances, we request compliance with race regulations, and it's your job as a participant to pass this on to support crew, supporters, and families and friends. Essentially, the race operates safely by leaving sections of the route clear of vehicles. As an example, if a car park only has room for 20 cars and 200 cars arrive, then this is an example of non-compliance which may affect the safety of runners crossing that road. Or it may bottleneck all of those roads and affect the access of emergency services should we need it. This would result in time penalties being applied by GB Ultras directly to the runner that their support crew is supporting or the supporters are supporting, and may result in disqualification if there is repeated non-compliance or refusal of compliance and abuse to the event team. Checkpoint locations. During Chester Ultra 50 Mile, there are a number of checkpoints spread over the route to support your progress. Please note that every runner has to be checked in by each checkpoint. Please advise your support crews and family and friends who are supporting you that for some locations there is limited parking, and GB Ultras request your compliance and their compliance due to safety concerns. Checkpoint 1 is at approximately 4 miles into the race, and that's at Stoke on the Shropshire Canal. This is a water-only checkpoint, and GB Ultras request compliance from your support crews, your supporters, not to attend due to lack of parking and safety reasons. Checkpoint 2 is at 8.7 miles into the race at Towers Road in Chester. The Shropshire Canal runs beside Chester City Wall, so it's a really nice location there. In terms of support crews and supporters, family and friends, you're more than welcome to ask them to support you at that checkpoint to attend, but please bear in mind there is very limited parking at the location and we need access to that checkpoint for our event team and emergency vehicles. So therefore, we would ask you to request them to park elsewhere. We've mentioned on the race instructions an alternative location which is pay and display parking locally. Alternatively, advise your support crew or your family and friends not to attend that particular location unless their vehicle is parked elsewhere. The next checkpoint is at checkpoint 3 at Waverton Village Hall, just off the Shropshire Canal. Please ensure that you leave the canal and check in at the checkpoint. Failure to do so will result in a small time penalty or disqualification. There is a marshal in position to direct you off the canal. There are toilet facilities at this location, and support teams and supporters are more than welcome at this checkpoint. Just bear in mind that supporters must park sensibly in the area, ensuring access for local residents and emergency vehicles is maintained. Checkpoint 4 is at Crib Lane, and that is approximately 20 miles into the race. You'll have just left the Shropshire Canal and joined onto the Sandstone Trail. For the safety of runners, GB Ultras request compliance that support crews and supporters do not attend this checkpoint, purely down to the runners approaching the checkpoint via the road. The checkpoint location has narrow roads in the area with tractors regularly travelling between farms. Therefore, for safety reasons, we request compliance. Next up is checkpoint 5 at Delamere Forest Barnesbridge Car Park. There is limited parking here, so we recommend that support crews, supporters and families and friends supporting you should park at Delamere Forest Visitor Centre and walk the short distance to the checkpoint. The Delamere Forest checkpoint is approximately 27 miles into the race, and there's an array of refreshments and food available for runners like the other checkpoints. At the checkpoint, there is also 2 toilets there for participants only. Then runners will be heading to Frodsham at checkpoint 6. This is the turning point on the Sandstone Trail. You'll be coming down some steps and turning left and hitting the checkpoint on the Sandstone. You'll then leave to go onto the North Cheshire Way, which will take you towards Helsby Hill. It's a fantastic location on the trail at Frodsham. Because the checkpoint is located right on the trail and it's quite narrow at times, and there is a limited amount of parking at the checkpoint, GB Ultras request compliance for you to inform your support crews and your supporters to avoid attending that location due to safety reasons. Then it's on to the final checkpoint for the Chester Ultra 50 mile, which is Alvanley Village Hall at 39 miles. We're very grateful to all the communities for welcoming the event. Sometimes it is very difficult for all the residents to park, and also it impacts the safety of runners. It's also very difficult for the event team and medical team to get to a checkpoint location if there's an abundance of cars that come in and flock to a village hall. So unfortunately, again, GB Ultras must request compliance that you, the runner, informs your supporters and your support crews to not attend that checkpoint. Okay, our Vanley Village Hall does have access to toilets, and there'll be a range of food, snacks and refreshments for our runners. The most up-to-date GPX for the race route, if you wanted to add it to your watch prior to the event, is on our website. We will be doing course checks in the lead up to the race, so this may change during race week. If a new GPX is released, participants will be emailed. No paces. Although support crews and supporters are welcome during Chester Ultra 50 mile, no paces are permitted during the event. That basically means if somebody says, I want to run some miles with you during the Chester Ultra 50 mile, that's not permitted. Everybody's on an equal playing field when it comes to taking part in the event itself, so unless you're actually wearing a bib number, then they're not allowed to be running with you or carrying any of your kit during the race itself. This is classed as pacing, so it will result in your disqualification or a time penalty being applied. Mandatory kit. The mandatory kit is a minimum standard kit that you need to carry during a Chester Ultra 50 mile. If you decide to carry anything additional to that, then that's up to yourself. You're more than welcome to do so. Extra nutrition, more socks, another base layer. Please do take into account that particularly at this time of the year, weather conditions and ground conditions can change very quickly, especially given the duration of this event, as you might be out on the trails for between 6 and 17 hours. Take additional kits if you feel you need to, but this is the minimum standard kit that you need to carry. During the event or at the finish line, we reserve the right to check your kits. If we check your kits and you're not carrying what we've asked you to carry, then time penalties will be imposed. Support crews and supporters can give you extra nutrition, changes of kit, changes of trainers during the event. However, you will not be permitted to restart the race if one of your items mandatory kit is not presented during a kit check during the race itself. So if you're without that, we can say you can stop here until you've got that extra item back in your pack. If you are unable to do so, you will not be permitted to continue in the race from that point. We recommend that if you have not currently got all the items mandatory kit, that you order or purchase these well before race day, as mandatory kit items will not necessarily be available to purchase at race registration. On the tracking side, we'll send you over a link which you can pass over to your friends and family, which will give them a good idea of where you're up to during the event. The tracking updates at approximately 2-minute intervals, providing there is GPS signal. Please ask any supporters or support crews that you have attending the race to arrive close to the time that you are due to arrive, so it doesn't clog up the particular checkpoint. This means that you get your support from your friends and the family, and we can also do our job that we need to, checking the runners, making sure that we're all okay, without us getting in your way and you getting in our way. Another important point that we need to mention is litter. Sometimes this is accidental. You'll have a snack and put the litter back in your pack, and then you might take your phone out and something drops out. So please just make sure that you dedicate a certain pocket to storing that litter. Then when you get to a checkpoint, please make sure that you leave it with the checkpoint. There's less risk of it coming out of your pocket and going onto the trail. Anyone reported or observed to be deliberately littering will be disqualified from the race. In terms of footwear for the event itself, the event takes place on trail. It's largely trail-based, so it can be very muddy in sections, particularly at this time of the year. We would recommend a hybrid or a trail-based choice of shoe. There are some sections of road or hard-packed trail path, but at the same time, unless there's somebody supporting you during the event itself and you're switching at certain points and you've done your research on the route, it would be, for me, a trail-based choice of footwear given the time of the year. This leads on to the emergency instructions for the Chester Ultra 50 mile. If there is a minor injury, please let a checkpoint, a race marshal or race HQ know. Only in emergency where there is a risk to life or limb, please follow these instructions. Number 1, please use any spare clothing and use your foil blanket and ensure that you keep warm. Number 2, please trigger the SOS button on the front of the tracker. On the front of the tracker, there's an SOS button, and hold it down for approximately 3 seconds, and that will alert Race HQ that there is an emergency. Please note that is no substitute to speaking to Race HQ on the phone. Number 3, please ring 999 and ask for an ambulance if there is a risk to life or limb. Number 4, please inform Race HQ by phone of the emergency. Number 5, please attract the attention of fellow runners or passers-by by using your whistle or shouting. This now completes the Chester Ultra 50-mile race brief. Please note that race instructions will also be sent in the email, and there's added information in there. These will be sent out approximately 2 to 3 weeks prior to race day. If you have not received these in your inbox, check your junk or spam folder. And please ensure that you read the race instructions email in full. If you have any questions, feel free to email the team at events@gbultras.com. Just let us know the nature of the inquiry and we'll be glad to help. Please do bear in mind that if it's race week itself, then myself and the team will be out marking a route, loading vans, setting up the event, so our preparations will be well underway. So bear in mind that particularly if it's 1 to 2 days prior to the event, we can't guarantee a reply. Thanks so much for watching the virtual race brief, and we look forward to welcoming you to Ellesmere Sports Village Athletics track for the Chester Ultra 50 mile.